A young nurse helped a woman deliver her baby in the plane. Unaware she is a billionaire, she changed her life completely. Lena was done with the long vacation, so she boarded a flight bound for New York. Like every other passenger, she didn't know what would unfold during their journey. The flight cruised smoothly for the first hour. The steady hum of the engines mixed with the low murmurs of conversation and the occasional clink of glasses from the first-class cabin. Lena drifted in and out of sleep, her head leaning against the window. And then it happened. A sharp gasp cut through the ambient noise, followed by the unmistakable sound of pain. Lena's eyes snapped open. Across the aisle, the elegant woman, Ava, was clutching her stomach, her face twisted in agony. Her assistant hovered helplessly beside her, eyes wide with panic. Ava's breathing was ragged, shallow. Sweat glistened at her hairline as her hand pressed protectively against her belly. I think something's wrong, Ava gasped. Passengers twisted in their seats, craning their necks toward the commotion. The flight attendants hurried down the aisle, their expressions tense. "Ma'am, are you in pain?" one of them asked. I think it's the baby," Ava whimpered. Lena's pulse spiked. She sat up straighter, her breath quickening. "Is there a doctor on board?" The flight attendant's voice rose above the hum of the cabin. A long silence followed. No one moved. Lena's chest tightened. Someone had to help. Another sharp moan from Ava broke the silence. She curled forward, her hand gripping the armrest, her knuckles white. Lena stood. "I'm a nurse." The flight attendant turned toward her, relief flickering in her eyes. Lena hesitated for half a second, and then her training kicked in. She crossed the aisle and knelt beside Ava. "I'm Lena," she said calmly. "Can you tell me what's happening?" Ava's eyes were wild with fear. I don't know. It hurts so much." Lena's hands were steady as she touched Ava's wrist, feeling for her pulse. "Fast. Too fast. How far along are you?" 36 weeks, Ava choked out. Lena's eyes darkened. Okay, we're close." Her voice softened. "Breathe with me, Ava." Slow, steady breaths. Ava squeezed her eyes shut as another wave of pain hit. Lena felt the tension ripple through her body. "Get me some towels and water," Lena directed the flight attendants. "And the emergency medical kit." Ava's grip tightened on Lena's hand. I can't do this," she whispered. "Yes, you can," Lena replied, her voice calm but commanding. "But I need you to breathe with me, okay?" Ava's wide eyes locked onto Lena's. Slowly, painfully, she mirrored Lena's breathing. Inhale. Exhale. The passengers sat frozen, the quiet hum of the engines punctuated only by Ava's strained breaths. The flight attendants returned, placing supplies beside Lena. She dampened a cloth and wiped Ava's forehead, pushing back strands of dark hair that had come loose from her immaculate bun. "Lena," Ava whispered. "I'm scared." Lena's heart twisted. She thought of her mother, the way her hands always steadied Lena when she was scared as a child, the calm in her voice even when things seemed hopeless. "You're not alone," Lena promised. Ava's breathing hitched, and Lena's eyes sharpened. Her hand slid down to Ava's abdomen, feeling the tense ripple beneath her skin. "It's happening," Lena said. "We might need to deliver this baby." Ava's eyes widened. "Dear? Now." "You're in good hands," Lena said, with a quiet confidence she didn't quite feel. The turbulence hit just then, the plane shifting beneath them. A few passengers gasped, clutching their armrests. Lena braced herself, keeping one hand on Ava's abdomen to steady her. Ava's head lolled back against the seat. I don't know if I can." "Yes, you can," Lena said firmly. "Look at me." Ava's eyes fluttered open, tears glistening. "Just stay with me," Lena said, her hand tightening around Ava's. Ava nodded faintly. Lena took a steadying breath and scanned the cabin. The flight attendant stood nearby, waiting for her direction. The passengers watched with wide eyes. But Lena's focus narrowed to Ava, to the fierce grip of her hand, the rise and fall of her labored breaths. "We've got this," Lena whispered. Another contraction tore through Ava's body, and her sharp cry echoed through the cabin. Lena leaned in closer, her hand never leaving Ava's. "You're not alone," Lena repeated. And for the first time in a long time, Lena felt the quiet strength of her mother's hands guiding her, steady and sure. Ava's scream ripped through the tense silence of the airplane cabin. Her back arched against the stiff seat, her face twisted in agony as another contraction tore through her body. Sweat glistened on her forehead, and her breath came in shallow gasps. Her manicured nails dug into Lena's hand with a strength that surprised even her. "Breathe, Ava." Lena's voice was calm but firm, cutting through the haze of pain. Her hand tightened around Ava's, grounding her. I can't, Ava gasped, her eyes wide with panic. Tears welled at the corners of her eyes. It hurts too much. I can't do this. Yes, you can, Lena said, her gaze steady and unflinching. Look at me, Ava. Just focus on me. Ava's chest heaved as her eyes locked onto Lena's. The steadiness in Lena's expression steadied something in Ava. She squeezed Lena's hand so tightly it nearly cut off circulation, but Lena didn't flinch. Her other hand pressed gently against Ava's abdomen, feeling the ripple of tension beneath her palm. You're so close, Lena whispered. You just need to push. Ava's head shook violently. I can't, she choked out. I'm not ready. You are ready, Lena insisted. Her tone softened as she leaned in closer, brushing Ava's damp hair away from her forehead. You've come this far. You're stronger than you think. Ava's lips quivered. Another contraction seized her, her body clenching as her breath hitched. A sharp, desperate sob escaped her throat. Lena's hand remained steady against her belly. You can do this, Lena said again. Push, Ava. Ava squeezed her eyes shut. Tears slipped down her cheeks as she clenched her jaw and bore down with everything she had. Her scream echoed through the cabin. Lena's breath quickened as she positioned herself. She could feel it. The baby was coming. The flight attendants hovered nearby, wide-eyed and helpless, clutching medical supplies they didn't know how to use. Passengers watched in stunned silence, some murmuring prayers under their breath. Lena didn't hear any of it. All she could see was Ava's face, twisted in pain, but determined. All she could feel was the rhythmic strength of Ava's body working to bring life into the world. That's it, Lena said encouragingly. You're doing it. Just one more push. Ava screamed and pushed harder, her whole body trembling. And then, a sharp cry pierced the tension. Lena's breath caught as the tiny, fragile weight filled her hands. The newborn's cries rang out through the cabin. Lena's heart raced as she lifted the baby into the soft glow of the cabin lights. A girl. A delicate, squirming girl with a shock of dark hair and lungs strong enough to rattle the walls of the plane. Tears blurred Lena's vision as she wrapped the baby in a clean towel provided by one of the flight attendants. She smiled down at the tiny face, her heart swelling in a way that made her chest ache. It's a girl, Lena whispered. Ava's head lolled back against the seat, her breath coming in ragged gasps. Tears streamed down her face as Lena carefully placed the swaddled newborn into her trembling arms. Ava's eyes widened as she looked down at the baby, her expression softening into something Lena could only describe as awe. She's perfect, Ava whispered. The baby's small hand curled around Ava's finger, and Ava's breath hitched. Her tears spilled freely now, but the exhaustion and fear in her eyes were fading, replaced by wonder. You did it, Lena said softly. Ava's gaze lifted toward Lena, her eyes glassy with emotion. You did it, she whispered. You saved us. Lena's throat tightened. Her hand brushed against the baby's tiny fingers, and the small warmth of the child's grasp settled something deep within her. She felt steady, grounded, whole. The cabin erupted into applause. Passengers cheered and clapped, relief breaking the tension that had filled the air moments before. A flight attendant wiped away tears, her hand pressed to her chest. Even the captain's voice came over the intercom, congratulating Ava and Lena. Lena allowed herself a small smile, her chest rising and falling beneath the swell of adrenaline. Ava's hand covered Lena's, squeezing it gently. You really are amazing, Ava whispered. Lena opened her mouth to reply, but then the baby squirmed in Ava's arms, letting out a tiny, sleepy sigh. Ava's gaze dropped back down to her daughter, her lips curving into a smile so soft it made Lena's heart flutter. For a moment, Lena let herself just be in the warmth of that connection, the new life cradled between them, the relief in Ava's eyes, the steady rhythm of her own heartbeat settling in her chest. Then a flight attendant's hand touched Lena's shoulder. The paramedics will meet us when we land, she said softly. Lena nodded. Her gaze lingered on Ava and the baby. You're going to be okay, she said. Ava's smile widened. Because of you. Lena's throat tightened again, but this time it was from something warm and bright filling her chest. The plane began to descend. The captain's voice drifted over the intercom, announcing their arrival in New York. Ava's eyes drifted closed as the baby settled into sleep. Lena sat back in her seat, exhaustion settling over her like a heavy blanket. But there was peace beneath it. A few minutes later, the plane touched down with a soft bump. The passengers clapped again, the tension of the flight melting into quiet relief. The paramedics came quickly, carefully transferring Ava onto a stretcher. Lena stood at her side as they prepared to wheel her off the plane. Ava's hand shot out and grabbed Lena's wrist. "Wait," Ava said, her voice rough with exhaustion. Lena crouched down. "I'm right here." Ava's tired eyes searched Lena's face. "Come with me," she whispered. Lena hesitated. I can't. I mean, you saved us," Ava said fiercely. Her grip tightened. "Please." Lena's lips parted, but before she could reply, Ava's assistant stepped forward. "Miss Ava," she began. Ava's gaze didn't waver. Lena sighed, a quiet laugh escaping her lips. "Okay," she said. Ava's hand finally released her wrist, but her eyes remained locked on Lena's. The paramedics began wheeling Ava toward the exit. Lena followed, her step sure and steady. Before they left, her assistant got her number so they can be in touch. Lena sat at her small, worn desk, the harsh glow of the desk lamp casting long shadows across the cluttered surface. Stacks of nursing textbooks leaned precariously to one side, their spines creased from too many sleepless nights of studying. A handful of unopened envelopes, mostly marked with red, past due stamps, sat in a messy pile at the edge of the desk. She sighed, rubbing her temples. The silence of her cramped apartment wrapped around her like a heavy fog. Her phone buzzed, vibrating against the chipped wood of the desk. Lena's heart skipped. She grabbed it quickly, hoping it wasn't another call from the student loan office. "Hello?" A woman's polished, composed voice answered on the other end. "Is this Lena?" "Yes. This is Camille, Miss Ava Sinclair's assistant. Miss Sinclair would like to meet with you privately." Lena sat up straighter, her brow furrowing. "Ava?" "Yes." Camille's tone remained crisp and professional. "Would you be available this Friday afternoon? Miss Sinclair would like to thank you personally." Lena hesitated, gripping the phone tighter. Her gaze flicked toward the pile of bills, the weight of her reality pressing down on her shoulders. A part of her wanted to decline, whatever Ava had in mind. Lena doubted it was anything she could accept without strings attached. But another part of her was curious. Ava had been through something extraordinary. They had been through something extraordinary together. "All right," Lena said finally. "I'll be there." 3 days later, Lena stood in front of a gleaming glass skyscraper that stretched so high it seemed to scrape the clouds. She craned her neck, squinting upward at the shimmering facade of steel and glass. A doorman in a crisp black suit held the door open for her with a slight bow. "Miss Lena?" "Yes," she said uncertainly. "Right this way." The elevator ride was smooth and silent. Lena's reflection stared back at her in the polished silver walls, dark circles under her eyes, her hair pulled into a messy bun, her jeans slightly frayed at the hem. The sharp contrast between her worn appearance and the luxury surrounding her made her stomach twist. When the elevator doors slid open, Lena stepped onto a marble floor so pristine it seemed untouched by human footsteps. Warm, golden light filtered through floor-to-ceiling windows that overlooked the New York skyline. A sleek hallway led to a massive set of double doors, which opened just as she approached. Ava stood on the other side, cradling her baby in one arm. She looked effortlessly elegant in a soft cream sweater and tailored trousers. Her blonde hair was pinned back in a loose chignon, and even with the baby nestled against her chest, she radiated an easy composure that Lena couldn't help but admire. "Lena." Ava's smile was warm and genuine. "Come in." Lena stepped hesitantly into the penthouse, her sneakers almost squeaking against the polished marble. Her eyes swept over the high ceilings, gold accents, and sparkling crystal chandeliers. Plush cream sofas sat beneath modern art pieces that Lena was pretty sure cost more than her entire education. "You look well," Lena said shyly, her gaze lingering on the baby's peaceful face. "We're doing well," Ava said, adjusting the baby's position. "Thanks to you." Lena's cheeks flushed. "I was just doing my job." Ava's gaze softened. "Sit down, please." Lena hesitated but finally sank into one of the sleek armchairs. Her knees bounced nervously as Ava sat opposite her, the baby tucked snugly in her arms. "I wanted to see you because I owe you more than just gratitude," Ava said. Her tone was quiet but deliberate. "You gave me my life back." "You don't owe me anything," Lena said quickly. Ava smiled faintly. "I disagree." Lena's brow furrowed as Ava leaned forward slightly, her expression growing more serious. "I want to pay off your student loans." Lena's heart stilled. "What?" "And more than that," Ava continued. I want to help you open that clinic you've always dreamed of. Lena's breath caught in her throat. Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. How do you know about that? Ava's smile softened. You told me, she said, when you were helping me through labor. You might not remember, but I do. Lena's mind raced, trying to piece together the memory. Through the blur of pain and adrenaline, she vaguely remembered talking to Ava about why she became a nurse, about how her mother had worked in a small community clinic, how Lena had always dreamed of following in her footsteps. I wasn't serious, Lena stammered. Yes, you were, Ava said gently. You said it with conviction. Lena's hands trembled against her knees. But why would you do that for me? Because you saved my daughter's life, Ava said simply. Because you saved my life. Lena's throat tightened. I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything. Ava smiled. Just say yes. Lena shook her head, tears prickling the corners of her eyes. It's too much. I don't think I can accept. Why not? Ava's tone was calm but pointed. Because it's charity. Ava's gaze sharpened. No, it's gratitude. Lena hesitated, her hands tightening into fists. I've never had anyone give me anything like this before. Ava's smile softened. Then maybe it's time you let someone. Lena's pulse thundered in her ears. The weight of Ava's offer pressed heavily against her chest. She could see it, the small clinic with her name on the door, a place where people could come without fear of being turned away, a place where she could make a difference the way her mother had. But accepting it meant admitting she couldn't do it alone. I don't know if I'm ready, Lena whispered. Ava's gaze softened as she brushed a hand over her baby's small head. You didn't hesitate when I needed you, she said. And I don't think you should hesitate now. Lena's breath shuddered out of her. Her eyes drifted toward the baby's sleeping face, peaceful and innocent beneath the soft pink blanket. Something warm expanded in her chest, a fragile hope beginning to unfurl. Ava leaned forward, her hand brushing gently over Lena's. You helped me through the most terrifying moment of my life, she said. Let me help you through this. Lena swallowed hard. I don't know how to thank you. You don't need to, Ava said. Just say yes. Lena's lips trembled. Slowly, hesitantly, she nodded. Yes, she whispered. Ava's smile widened, relief softening her features. You won't regret this, Ava said. Lena exhaled shakily. She wasn't sure if it was fear or excitement racing through her veins. Maybe both. But for the first time in a long time, the future didn't feel so impossible. Ava's baby stirred, her tiny fist curling beneath her cheek. Ava smiled down at her daughter, then looked up at Lena with quiet certainty. You're going to change lives, Ava said. Lena's heart swelled. Maybe, just maybe, she was. Lena stood at the edge of the sidewalk, staring up at the modest but beautiful building before her. The sunlight glinted off the fresh white paint and the dark blue trim around the windows. A crisp new sign above the entrance read, The Margaret Health Center, her mother's name. Lena's chest tightened. Her heart thrummed beneath the soft fabric of her blouse as a light breeze teased the loose strands of her hair. Behind her, a small but growing crowd murmured with quiet anticipation. The soft chatter of voices mingled with the occasional laughter of children. A couple of reporters hovered at the edge of the scene, their cameras ready. Nurses in neatly pressed scrubs stood together, smiling at Lena with admiration. Members of the local community, families, seniors, single mothers with strollers, gathered along the sidewalk. Lena brushed her damp palms against the sides of her navy dress. She wasn't used to this attention, praise, gratitude. But here she was, standing in front of something real, something tangible, something she had built. Or rather, something they had built. Ava stood in the front row, looking elegant as always, but softer somehow. Motherhood had given her a quiet warmth beneath the polish. She cradled her daughter in her arms, the baby's head nestled against her shoulder. Ava smiled at Lena, a quiet, encouraging smile. Lena swallowed hard and forced herself to step forward to the small microphone set up near the entrance. The metal was cold beneath her fingers as she adjusted it. Good morning, everyone, she began, her voice steadier than she expected. The crowd quieted immediately, all eyes turning toward her. Lena's throat tightened, but she pushed forward. When I was a little girl, Lena said, I used to follow my mother to work at the small clinic where she was a nurse. I watched her care for people from all walks of life, people who didn't have insurance, people who had been turned away elsewhere. She treated everyone the same, with compassion, dignity, and respect. Lena's eyes softened as she looked toward the sign. She taught me that health care isn't a privilege. It's a right. And when I lost her, I thought that dream died with her. Her gaze found Ava's. Ava gave her a small nod, her expression shining with quiet pride. But then life surprised me, Lena continued, her voice thick with emotion. On a flight I will never forget, I was reminded that hope has a way of finding us when we least expect it. That sometimes, a single act of courage can change more than just one life. Ava's eyes shone. This clinic is more than a building, Lena said, her voice steady now. It's a promise. A promise that anyone in need will be cared for, no matter their background, no matter their story. Lena paused, letting her words settle over the quiet crowd. A breeze stirred the leaves above them, and the golden afternoon sunlight painted soft patterns across the pavement. So, on behalf of my mother, Margaret, and everyone who helped make this possible, welcome. The crowd erupted into applause. A few people wiped their eyes. Nurses embraced each other. An older man in the back clapped with his hands raised high. Lena stepped back from the microphone, her heart hammering. She turned just as Ava approached, smiling as she adjusted the baby in her arms. You did it, Ava said softly. Lena's breath shuddered out of her. We did it. Ava's smile widened. You should hold her, she said, gently shifting the baby toward Lena. Oh, are you sure? Of course. Ava's eyes gleamed with quiet insistence. Lena hesitated for a moment, but then she reached out and took the small, warm bundle into her arms. The baby stirred slightly, her dark lashes fluttering against her pale cheeks. Lena's heart tightened. She cradled the baby carefully, brushing her fingertips along the soft curve of her cheek. She's growing fast, Lena murmured, her voice almost reverent. Because of you, Ava said. Her gaze was steady and sure. Lena looked down at the baby's peaceful face. A fierce protectiveness bloomed in her chest. A deep, quiet certainty that she would always be there for this child. She would always be there for Ava. The baby stirred, curling her tiny fingers around Lena's thumb. Lena smiled. I think she likes me, Lena whispered. Ava laughed softly. She loves you. Lena's eyes lifted toward the clinic again. A bright future seemed to stretch out before her, a future where she could make a real difference. A future where no one would be turned away. A future where her mother's legacy would live on through every life she touched. You've given me more than I ever thought possible, Lena said. Ava shook her head. You earned it. They stood together as the sun began to dip toward the horizon, casting golden light over the clinic's white walls. The sound of laughter and conversation drifted through the warm air. Behind them, the community was already beginning to filter through the clinic's doors. Lena felt Ava's hand slide into hers. Their fingers threaded together, easy and familiar. Lena's heart steadied. This is just the beginning, Ava said. Lena smiled. Yeah, she agreed. It is. They stood together, Lena holding the baby, Ava at her side, as the sun slipped below the horizon and the doors to the Margaret Health Center opened wide. A new beginning. If you enjoyed Lena's incredible story of bravery and determination, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us bring you more amazing content like this. Also, let us know where you're watching from. It's always exciting to see how far our stories reach. And finally, rate the story on a scale of 1 to 10. Did it keep you on the edge of your seat? We can't wait to see your ratings and hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more powerful and inspiring stories.